You black people think you can just buy your way into our world. This country club is for real Americans, not thugs like you. The words spill from Officer Dale Brennan's mouth like poison, each syllable sharpened by hate. He swings a $1,000 golf club at Benjamin Harris, his head with the reckless confidence of a man who believes the world belongs to him. A black man on his knees, hands raised, begging for mercy on scorching asphalt, yet still holding himself with the quiet dignity of someone who survived far worse. The chrome shaft stops inches from his skull. That near miss flickers like lightning. Wham! Brennan's boot slams into Ben's spine, a cruel stomp meant to break more than bone. Where did you steal this car, boy? Which white family did you rob around them? His voice hisses, rising in the humid afternoon. A platinum country club surrounds them $50,000 memberships, imported stone walkways, and privilege polished to a mirror shine. 40 wealthy white golfers stand behind the fence, recording with their phones, silent as statues. Complicit in their stillness? This is America, where a black man in a $200,000 car can only mean one thing to men like Brennan: criminal. But what this white cop doesn't know is that he just assaulted a federal agent on camera. Already 1,400 people watch the live feed. In 11 minutes, 12 federal agents will swarm this parking lot, and this racist cop will go dead silent. 43 cities, 1,200 corrupt cops exposed. $2.3 billion stolen from black Americans. Today is the day the system finally fights back. Ben tastes copper as blood from his bitten tongue mixes with asphalt grit. The blacktop burns at 97, hot enough to sear through denim, through skin, through dignity itself. His wedding ring catches the afternoon sun, a tiny golden promise that cuts through pain. Angela is waiting at Morello's downtown, anniversary dinner. Table reserved for 6 p.m. Tiramisu already ordered. He promised he wouldn't be late tonight. If he made it at all, I said, answer me. Brennan yanks Ben's arms behind his back. Handcuffs snap shut too tight, deliberately crushing. His hands turn purple instantly, circulation strangled. Metal digs into skin, slicing thin lines of pain. Officer, please. Ben's voice stays calm, steady, the voice the Marine Corps drilled into him. Control your fear, or your fear controls you. I'm a platinum member here. My name is Benjamin Harris, member number P8634. If you just check with the club platinum. Brennan laughs cold, cruel, echoing off the row of pristine golf carts. You hear this, Rodriguez? This black boy thinks he's platinum. 10 feet away, Officer James Rodriguez stands beside his patrol car, body cam blinking red. Late 20s, Latino shoulders stiff with fear. His face is a war zone of conflict. His training screams intervene, but his survival instinct whispers, stay silent. Silence wins. His camera records everything while his mouth says nothing. People like you don't get platinum memberships. Brennan leans down, hissing into Ben's ear, voice low and intimate like a secret weapon. You steal them, you forge them. You lie your way into places you don't belong. Then you act surprised when real Americans like me put you back in your place. Behind the chain link fence, the crowd grows to 60 white, wealthy, holding their phones like shields. One woman in tennis whites whispers, oh my God, this is terrible. Someone should do something. Her Hermes bag swings at her wrist like a silent badge of safety. But she does nothing because doing something means choosing a side, and choosing a side means risking comfort. And comfort is the one thing they will never give up for someone like Ben. 10 minutes ago, this was supposed to be a normal Saturday. Ben had pulled his vintage Aston Martin DB9 into the club lot, same spot. Same time, same ritual for 3 years. His clubs rattled in the trunk. His platinum membership card rested in his wallet. Tea time locked for 3 p.m. The valet approached. The white kid, maybe 19, acne scars on his cheeks. Nerves buzzing under his skin. Tyler, his eyes scanned the car, British racing green chrome trim, a price that could buy a house. Then he looked at Ben, Amivi hoodie, dark-skinned athletes build on. The math broke in his mind. Black man plus expensive car equals does not belong. Sir, are you here too? Do you have a membership card? He asked, voice trembling, more from prejudice than confusion. Ben had heard this question 100 times at restaurants, banks, hotels, even places where he held 7-figure accounts. The real question was always, are you sure you're allowed to exist here? I'm a member, he said calmly, showed the platinum card embossed in gold. Tyler stared at the card, then pulled out his phone not to verify, but to call someone else. Ben watched his thumb skip manager, skip security, land on Pinehurst PD non-emergency, and Ben knew. This was the moment, exact moment the trap was triggered. Operation Sundown, 18 months of planning. 43 cities. One blueprint to expose corruption buried in law enforcement. And Benjamin Harris's department deputy director, Purple Heart recipient, husband to Angela, father to 8-year-old, Emma volunteered to be the bait, so he stood there and waited while Tyler said, yeah, hi. Suspicious individual. Black male, 30s, expensive car, acting weird. Acting weird. Translation, existing while black. 3 patrol cars arrived in 6 minutes, lights slicing through the air like accusation. Ah! And now, here he is, face down, bleeding, humiliated before 60 white faces who see him not as a man, but as a spectacle. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12, Brennan says into his radio, voice booming with fake authority. "Black male, suspect secured, stolen vehicle confirmed, hostile refused ID, attempted to flee. Necessary force used to ensure public safety." Every word a lie. Every word destined for the official record. Every word believed because a white cop said it. Ben runs the numbers in his head. Speak up aggressive. Stay silent. Guilty. Fight back resisting arrest. These are the coded steps leading to officer-involved shooting. He learned this equation at 16, walking in his own neighborhood. At 22, matching a vague description. At 30, shopping in Nordstrom with money they assumed he didn't have. There's no right answer, only survival. His phone buzzes from Brennan's pocket secure channel, Director Mitchell urgent. Brennan sees the U.S. Treasury seal on the lock screen. For 2 seconds, uncertainty flickers. Then rage returns, murmuring evidence, evidence. That's when Karen Westfield, the club manager, runs out white 50s designer golf outfit, clacking across pavement. "Officer, please. There's been a terrible mistake." She waves her iPad wildly. "Mr. Harris is a platinum member. 3 years paid in full. Look." She thrusts the iPad forward, showing his profile, photo payment, history undeniable proof. Brennan glances at it for half a second before his voice drops to something dark. "Ma'am, are you interfering with a police investigation? Because that's a crime." "That's obstruction. You want to be arrested alongside your member?" Brennan's voice slices the air like barbed wire. Karen's face drains of color instantly, the confidence collapsing out of her posture. The iPad dips in her hands as if it suddenly weighs 10 pounds. She takes 3 slow, terrified steps backward. The message Brennan sends is unmistakable. Stay in line, or become the enemy. In the crowd, a man pushes forward with surprising force. White. Mid-60s, a faded Vietnam veteran cap pulled low over a weathered face flushed with righteous fury. Thomas Bennett. His fists clench the chain-link fence so hard the metal shakes. "I know Ben Harris," he shouts, voice cracking with emotion. "He's a good man, a veteran. This is wrong." Brennan's head snaps toward him like a predator spotting movement. "Sir, I'm going to ask you once to step back and be quiet." But Thomas is done being quiet. "I won't be quiet. You're abusing your power. That man served 2 tours in Iraq while you were probably sitting behind a desk eating donuts, sir." His voice bursts through the crowd like a cannon blast. Brennan takes 1 calculated step toward the fence. His hand drops casually, deliberately to his holster, not drawing the weapon, just resting on it. A silent promise, a threat carved in leather and steel. "Unless you want to be in handcuffs too, I suggest you shut your mouth right now." Thomas's jaw clenches. His hands shake on the fence, but he doesn't step back. He refuses. "Someone's recording this," he growls. "The world is watching. And you're going to regret this." Brennan smirks, smug, cruel, invincible. "I've been on this force 16 years old, man. 3 complaints. 0 consequences. The system protects me, not him. And he's right. It always has, except today. Because today, Benjamin Harris is the system and the trap he built is about to snap shut." Ben's vision ripples from pain. His wrists are numb from the cuffs cutting deep. His ribs scream where Brennan's boot found them. Blood drips from his split lip onto asphalt stained with oil, tire marks, and the ghosts of dreams that died quietly here before. He counts breaths: 1, 2, 3. Same way he survived Fallujah. 6 hours pinned in a farmhouse while RPGs shredded the walls. Back then, he survived by controlling what he could. Breath, fear, reaction. Today is no different. Everything else is theater. Necessary suffering to expose a cancer-eating America from the inside out. A tow truck rumbles around the corner, a big yellow rig with impound stenciled across the side. Coming for his Aston Martin, Angela's anniversary gift. Symbol of everything they built with sweat, discipline, love, about to be ripped away like contraband. The Facebook livestream spikes to 2,100 viewers. Comments flood in. "This is disgusting. Call his supervisor. Someone help him. This is why we kneel. Where are the good cops?" Where indeed. Rodriguez stands motionless body, camera recording, lips sealed, courage locked behind fear. 2 more patrol cars roll in. Officers Kowalski and Jensen step out, eyes blank, spines straight, falling into formation without a question. The blue wall stands tall. Ben's phone, still stolen in Brennan's pocket, buzzes 1 last time, then stops, because 11 minutes have passed. And somewhere beyond the 18th hole, past manicured grass, where rich men escape reality, 3 black Chevy Suburbans tear across the golf course at 70 miles per hour. No lights, no sirens, just purpose. 12 federal agents in side armor, warrants, and 18 months of evidence aimed like a loaded weapon at 1 corrupt cop. Brennan grabs Ben by the collar and begins dragging him toward the cruiser. "Let's go. Station's waiting. You can tell your lies to the judge, but then Sound rises low at first, like distant thunder, then louder, closer. Heavy engines. More than one. Brennan freezes mid-drag. The crowd turns. Over the hill, slicing through the emerald grass of the 18th green like the hand of God, 3 massive SUVs crest the ridge in perfect formation. They screech to a halt, sealing every exit. 12 doors swing open in flawless unison. 12 agents step out in tactical gear, U.S. Treasury Special Investigations glowing in bold reflective yellow. At the front, Commander Rachel Turner, silver-streaked hair pinned back, gaze sharp enough to cut steel. She walks straight to Ben, no hesitation, no eye contact with Brennan, no permission asked. She pulls a key from her vest and unlocks the cuffs herself. Ben's hands drop. Blood floods back. Pain roars through him like fire, agonizing, glorious, liberating. Rachel's voice is dry, almost bored. "Sorry we're late, sir. Traffic." Brennan's face collapses in slow motion, color draining, mouth opening, closing, strangled by panic. Ben rises, slow and steady, eyes never leaving Brennan's. His voice is low, calm, lethal. "Now we do this properly." The tow truck finally arrives, a big yellow rig with Pinehurst Auto Impound scrawled on the side. The driver, a grizzled man in oil-stained overalls, looks from the Aston Martin to Ben on the ground, then to Brennan. "That the stolen vehicle? That's the one? Impound it." It's full evidentiary hold. Ben watches his car, the car. Angela saved 2 years to restore as an anniversary surprise. Get chained like a criminal and dragged away. The live stream hits 300 viewers, comments crashing in. "Call a lawyer. Where is this? Tag ACLU. Tag NAACP." Rodriguez checks his body camera, red light still blinking. Record, but never intervene. That's the rule. Brennan yanks Ben upright. Pain shoots through Ben's arms. The cuffs long since strangled the circulation from his hands, turning them a sickening purple. "Let's see what else you're hiding." The pat down, his brutal hands digging into pockets. Waistband, shoes. The crowd shifts uncomfortably, because intimacy of injustice always makes the privileged uneasy. Brennan finds nothing. No drugs. No weapons. No justification. So he lies. Dispatch suspect was loitering, acting suspicious, refused identity, became aggressive. I had to physically restrain him to prevent escalation. Ben turns directly toward Rodriguez's body camera. His voice is controlled, firm. "That's not what happened. I arrived for my tea time. I didn't refuse anything. I complied with every instruction." "Stop resisting," Brennan snaps, shoving him toward the cruiser. Ben isn't resisting, but Brennan shoves again anyway. And when Ben stumbles, Brennan slams him against the hood. The crowd gasps. Karen Westfield races forward, thrusting the membership roster at Brennan. "Look, Benjamin Harris. Platinum member since 2022, $50,000 dues, paid in full." Brennan barely glances. "Doesn't matter. He was trespassing before you verified." "Still a crime." Rodriguez finally speaks, voice cracking. "Dale, he was in his own car. In a parking lot where he's a member. What trespassing charge?" "Disorderly conduct. Public disturbance. I'll figure it out at the station." Rodriguez stares. "Figure it out? You're just making this up. You got a problem, Rodriguez? Want to file a complaint? I've been here 16 years. You've been here 16 months. Think real hard about whose side you want to be on." Rodriguez falls silent. The body cam keeps recording. His courage doesn't. Ben's phone buzzes 11 missed calls from Director Mitchell. But Brennan doesn't care. He's already writing the report in his head. Stolen vehicle. Suspicious behavior. Suspect resisted. Officer used appropriate force. A story he's told before. A story the system always believed. Until today. 2 more patrol cars skid into the lot, lights strobing red and blue across the shocked faces gathering in waves. Officers Kyle Kowalski and Ryan Jensen step out older than Rodriguez. Younger than Brennan, carrying the defeated posture of men who learned long ago that survival means obedience, not questions. Their eyes flick to Ben, then snap obediently to Brennan. Brennan briefs them quickly, stacking lies like bricks into a prison cell. He plans to lock Ben inside forever. Stolen vehicle. ID. Possible assault on staff. He jerks his chin at the valet near the clubhouse young. Terrified, looking like he'd rather be swallowed by the carpet. Brennan gives him a cold, surgical stare. The boy's truth evaporates. His head drops. Compliance wins. Jensen returns from his cruiser after a warrant check, face tight. Got a hit? Unpaid parking ticket? To Arlington, Virginia. 15 years old? Brennan's smile blooms like a rotten flower. There it is. Outstanding warrant. Career criminal. Ben closes his eyes. He knows exactly what happened. Another Benjamin Harris. Another lazy data entry clerk. A system that only cares about closing cases, not accuracy. "That's not me," Ben murmurs, voice steady despite the pain. "Check the date of birth. Check the middle name." Brennan ignores him, opening the patrol car door with a flourish. We'll sort it at the station. Get in. The crowd thickens, 40 people now, filming, whispering, furious. Ben's Facebook livestream surges beyond 200 viewers. Someone already sent the link to the local station. A news van creeps into the lot like a shark drawn by blood. Thomas Bennett, the veteran, is on his phone, voice trembling, but relentless. Yes, Pinehurst Country Club. No, he didn't do anything. Just send someone, please. Then a woman shoves through the bodies, a black nurse in scrubs, mid-40s, eyes red from exhaustion, but blazing with purpose. Let me see his wrists. Brennan steps in front of her. Ma'am, step back. I'm a registered nurse. Those cuffs are cutting off circulation. You're causing medical harm. He's fine. He's not fine. Look at his hands. Brennan glances at the purple swelling, shrugs. That's what happens when you resist. The nurse doesn't flinch. She pulls out her phone, recording. For the record, her voice rings loud enough to crack stone. This man is not resisting. He is compliant. And you are torturing him, Brennan snaps. Jensen cite her for obstruction. Jensen freezes. Dale, she's just did. I stutter. Stutter. Jensen doesn't move.
At Kowalski, stay still.
Even Rodriguez looks nauseous. The news van parks. Reporter Maria Cooper, polished like prime time, strides forward with a cameraman. Brennan snaps into performance mode, instantly community protector stance, heroic angle, fake concern. We received a report of a stolen vehicle and a potentially dangerous individual, he tells her microphone. I assessed the situation and took appropriate action. Maria's eyes say she's seen 1,000 liars. Is the suspect injured? No injuries. Minor contact to ensure compliance. Can we speak with him? Not at this time. Ben stands beside the cruiser, ribs throbbing, wrists screaming, watching his story get rewritten in real time by a man who weaponizes lies for sport. He turns toward Rodriguez's body camera and recites, clear and precise, my name is Benjamin Harris. Treasury identification number THX 8634. I invoke federal jurisdiction under Title 18, Section 114, Tort Crimes against federal officers. Shock ripples. Rodriguez's eyes fly open. Kowalski and Jensen stare. Rhea Cooper steps in closer. Brennan freezes, 2 seconds of stillness before rage detonates. He grabs Ben's neck and slams him against the patrol car. Federal jurisdiction? You think you're special? Think some fake badge protects you? Rodriguez tries to intervene. Dale, get him in the car now. They push Ben toward the open door, his skull inches from the metal frame. One violent shove too hard, and his story ends like too many before him. The crowd holds its breath. Then everyone hears it. A low rumble, not thunder, not construction. Engines. 3 black Chevy Suburbans crest the hill, government plates glowing. No sirens, no hesitation. They roll across the manicured 18th green like justice, tearing through privilege, forming a perfect triangular barricade at the lot's exit. Brennan's grip loosens. What the hell? 12 doors open in unison. 12 agents step out, tactical gear gleaming, U.S. Treasury Special Investigations blazing across their chests. Commander Rachel Turner, fierce, silver-streaked, unblinking, strides straight to Ben Ever, acknowledging Brennan. She unlocks the cuffs herself. Pain floods Ben's hands. Sharp, glorious, returning. Sorry we're late, sir, Rachel murmurs with dry sarcasm. Traffic. Brennan's face bleaches white. Words die in his throat. Ben straightens, voice soft but devastating. Now, ... We do this properly. 6 months earlier, EZEX flashback, Benjamin Harris stands before a Treasury conference, room fluorescent lights humming. Coffee stinging the air, 16 officials watching him like a jury awaiting a verdict. Director Sarah Mitchell, silver-haired, sharp, feared, taps a folder. Walk us through it. Ben advances the slide. A map of the United States, 43 red markers bleeding across it. Operation Sundown, he begins. Systemic corruption uncovered in 43 police departments. Officers using minor stops to justify civil asset forfeiture. Cash, cars, even homes, seized with no charges. Victims overwhelmingly black and Latino. A justice deputy leans forward. Much money. $2.3 billion over 8 years. The number hangs like smoke. Mitchell nods toward the next slide. Brennan's photo appears, smiling without warmth. Pinehurst. Flagship case, Ben says. It's Officer Dale Brennan. 600 forfeitures in 5 years, $2.1 million taken. But only 12% resulted in charges. The rest vanished into department accounts. Bank records show deposits into Brennan's personal account hours after seizures. Gasps ripple. Even hardened veterans shift. Mitchell folds her hands. We need someone on the inside. Someone to trigger his behavior pattern while we document everything. Ben doesn't hesitate. I'll do it, Ben. You understand what that means? You'll be exposed. Vulnerable. He nods. I know. That's why I'm the one who has to do it. Ben's voice doesn't shake, doesn't hesitate. It lands like a steady hammer on steel. I grew up in towns like Pinehurst, he says, and the room feels it. He isn't selling bravery, he's simply telling the truth. I know how they see us. I know what they do when they think no one's watching. If we're going to break this system, someone has to be willing to stand in the fire. Mitchell studies him, not as a subordinate, but as a man volunteering for a war most people pretend doesn't exist. Finally, she nods. 43 cities. This is just the beginning. Her voice drops razor sharp. But if it goes sideways, if you re-endanger, you hold until backup confirms. We can't blow operational security on a maybe. Ben doesn't blink. He's thinking of Fallujah. Of smoke, rifles, and bodies. Of an aisle in a grocery store where a cop yelled at him for reaching for his wallet. Of his daughter asking why grown men tense up when he walks by. How long can you hold if it goes bad? He inhales once, exhales slow. 15 minutes. I can take 15 minutes of hell if it means fixing the system. Mitchell offers her hand, and let's go break some bad cops. Present day, Pinehurst, parking lot. 22 minutes, nearly double what he swore he could endure since Brennan first touched him. 22 minutes of calculating survival, of letting humiliation stack on humiliation while the cuffs chewed into his wrists and his ribs screamed every time he breathed. But Ben didn't break. He didn't give Brennan an aggressive suspect. Didn't give him the lie he needed to justify violence. He held the line held. Now Rachel Turner stands beside him, her agents forming a wall of federal authority. Brennan looks like a man realizing hell didn't come for Ben, it came for him. Ben's thoughts drift to Angela. To Emma, age 8, with eyes too bright to understand the world she inherited. Why did that lady follow us in the store? Why did that officer look at you like that? Questions no child should ask. Questions he tried to answer with hope instead of fear, but hope without action is a lullaby. And Ben Harris is done singing lullabies. He remembers names that should never have become hashtags. Philando Castile reaching for a wallet. Sandra Bland asserting a right. Breonna Taylor asleep in her own bed. The weight of that history sits heavy, not on his back, but on every black parent teaching their child the choreography of survival. Hands visible, voice calm, movement slow. They stay alive. That's why he drove here. That's why he let Brennan throw him on the ground. That's why he tasted blood and asphalt and swallowed every instinct to fight back. Because if he didn't take the fire, someone else would take the bullet. Rachel hands him his phone. Director Mitchell is on line 1. Your wife is on line 2. Which first? He smiles, small but real. Angela. She picks up instantly, voice trembling. I saw it on Twitter, Ben. You could have... I know, he says softly. His voice fractures just a hair. But if not me, then who? If not now, when? A beat of silence. Then. You better get here before dessert gets cold. I ordered your favorite, he exhales, something between a promise and a prayer. On my way, he stands straighter. Debrief tomorrow, he tells Rachel. Tonight I'm just a husband who's very late for dinner. His car keys appear in his palm. Your Aston's clean, sir? All surveillance removed? He shakes his head. Leave it in. Evidence. He drives through the parted crowd. In the mirror, Brennan, caged in the back of a federal SUV. Thomas Bennett, lifting a trembling salute. News cameras tracking a story that's about to explode across the country. Then, Rachel Turner steps into frame. Tablet out. Voice calm. The eyes lethal. Officer Brennan, you've been under federal investigation for 18 months. Color drains from his face. He sputters. She reads him law-like scripture. Title 18, 1114, Section 242, Section 1962. Each charge a nail in the coffin he built with greed. She flips the tablet. 600 seizures. $2.1 million. At 83% linked to his personal accounts. The crowd goes still. She plays the body cam. Ben's calm invocation of federal jurisdiction. Brennan's violent answer, the thud of Ben's skull on metal. Agents move. Kowalski and Jensen are cuffed. Not brutal, but final. You doubled down on a false warrant, Rachel says. You assisted in the unlawful detention of a federal officer? Their protests die on their lips. She turns to the valet, barely an adult, shaking. You called this in? He told me to. Said I'd lose my job. Coerced testimony. Witness tampering. She nods. You'll give a statement.
You're not under arrest.
And the parking lot falls quiet, the kind of quiet that happens when justice finally arrives. Wearing body armor. You were intimidated by someone in a position of authority. That's different. The kid's shoulders finally slump, like the fear is melting off his bones. Rachel opens her briefcase and pulls out a thick accordion folder, hundreds of pages, heavy enough to break a career. She drops it onto the hood of Brennan's patrol car. The sound cracks through the parking lot like a judge's gavel announcing a verdict long overdue. Pinehurst Police Department, 2019 to 2024, complete audit. She flips it open. Her voice cutting through the air with the precision of a scalpel. 600 asset forfeitures. 89% targeting people of color. $2.1 million seized. Only 12% of cases resulted in charges. She lifts her eyes. The rest. No charges, no convictions. And somehow she taps the pages, the money never came back. Rachel pulls out a bank statement and holds it up to the cameras. Dale Brennan's personal checking account. She pulls out another. June 3rd, 2023. $6,000 deposit. 2 days after seizing $6,300 from Jasmine Rodriguez, a single mother driving home from Walmart, Brennan claimed he smelled marijuana. None was found. She couldn't afford a lawyer. The money disappeared. Another sheet. September 22nd, 2023. $12,000 deposit. Brennan seized $15,000 from Thomas and Patricia Chunyes. Thomas, right there by the fence. The veteran who tried to vouch for Deputy Director Harris. They were driving cash to their son's college because the bank messed up the wire transfer. Rachel fixes Brennan with a stare. You didn't know Thomas was a member here, did you? Didn't know he'd remember. Thomas Bennett steps forward, voice brittle with contained fury. I told you it was for my grandson's tuition. You said it was suspicious to have that much cash. You kept it anyway. We had to take out a loan. Rachel nods solemnly. The Chens filed a complaint. Internal Affairs investigated. Investigator was, she checks, Brennan's brother-in-law. Case dismissed. The crowd detonates with outraged voices layered, phones raised, humanity witnessing corruption exposed in real time. Rachel raises a hand. Psst. Silence falls like a curtain. We didn't just investigate Brennan, investigated the whole system. The chief who ignored complaints. The district attorney who declined to prosecute. The city council that rubber-stamped purchases funded by forfeiture money. She looks directly into Maria Cooper's camera. This isn't about one bad cop. It's about a department that turned law enforcement into a profit center. Rachel takes out her phone, mirrors it to a portable screen. A map of the United States appears, 43 pulsing red dots. Operation Sundown, 43 cities, 1,200 officers under investigation, $2.3 billion in illegal seizures. She taps a button. Red dots turn green one by one. As of 5 minutes ago, simultaneous federal raids are underway. The crowd gasps. Maria Cooper nearly drops her mic. This stopped being local a long time ago. Ben steps up, takes the phone from Rachel, opens the Treasury public portal, and goes live. My name is Benjamin Harris, Deputy Director, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. For 18 months, I've been undercover documenting systemic civil rights violations and financial crimes committed by law enforcement across the country. The viewer count surges 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 comments racing like wildfire. What happened to me today has happened to thousands. People pulled over for minor violations and robbed of their life savings. People told they looked suspicious. People who couldn't fight back. He looked straight into the lens, steady, unbroken. Today is the first step toward accountability. No one is above the law, not even those sworn to enforce it. Applause erupts. Thomas Bennett starts it. Karen Westfield joins. The nurse in scrubs, spectators, even golfers who pretended not to look earlier. Brennan sinks to his knees, the same posture he forced Ben into, but now his hands tremble. I was just doing my job, he whispers. Ben walks over, voice quiet and fatal. No, you were doing your hobby. Your job was justice. Rachel signals. 2 federal agents grab Brennan, cuff him, read his rights. Dale Brennan, you're under arrest for deprivation of civil rights under color of law, assault on a federal officer, wire fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy. You have the right to remain silent? They escort him down the same path Ben was forced down earlier. The symmetry cuts deep. You set me up, Brennan spits. Ben's voice is steel-wrapped and calm. No, I gave you a choice. You made it. Rodriguez approaches, badge trembling in his hand. Ma'am, I think I need to decide what kind of cop I want to be. Rachel doesn't take it. Kept your camera on? That took courage. The question, Eason, T. Who you want to bit, Eason. Who you choose to be every single day. She nods toward the badge. Keep it. Earn it. Rodriguez closes his hand around it like a vow. Floodlights flare. News vans hum. Golf sprinklers wash thin streams of blood and dirt from the asphalt. Ben sits on the curb, not restrained, just exhausted. The pain finally catches up. Rachel sits beside him. Mitchell wants a full debrief. DOJ wants testimony. Media wants interviews. Tomorrow, Ben echoes. Tonight, I'm just going home. Angela's waiting on line 2. Always line 2, he dials. Baby, I'm sorry. I'll explain everything. I'm okay. I'm coming home. I saw it, Angela says, voice shaking. Twitter had it before the news. Ben, you could have died. I know, he whispers. But if not me, then who? Silence. Then her voice, soft and strong. You better get here before dessert. I ordered tiramisu. He stands. An agent hands him his keys. Car's clean, sir? Surveillance pulled. Ben runs a hand along the Aston's hood. Keep it installed. It's evidence. He gets in. Engine purrs. Crowd parts. Thomas Bennett salutes. Karen wipes tears. The nurse waves. Shh. In the rear view, Brennan's bowed head sits in the federal SUV. Rodriguez stands alone, badge clutched tight. The cameras capture everything. Ben drives toward Georgetown, toward Angela, toward Tiramisu, toward the 42 cities still waiting their turn. The fight isn't over. But today's finally justice bent in the right direction. 72 hours later, headlines blaze across America. Operation Sundown nets 183 federal arrests, $2.3 billion returned to victims. Pinehurst. Police chief resigns. Deputy Director Harris, the man who stood down a corrupt system. In a Richmond federal courtroom, Brennan now sits beside a public defender who looks barely old enough to rent a car. Judge Williams, a black woman in her 60s with zero patience for nonsense, reads the charges, 8 federal counts, minimum 63 years. Your Honor, the defender pleads, my client was simply following established procedures. Judge Williams leans forward, swinging a golf club at a restrained man's head as procedure. That's not what he... Bail denied. Defendant remanded to federal custody. The gavel slams. Justice lands. And this time, it sticks. Brennan is marched out in an orange jumpsuit, the same shade worn by dozens of men and women he railroaded over the last 5 years. The hallway that once echoed with his authority now echoes with chains rattling at his wrists. In Washington, D.C., the Attorney General steps up to the podium at the Department of Justice and announces emergency reforms. Mandatory body camera reviews for every civil asset forfeiture over $1,000. Independent oversight boards for any department with more than 50 officers. Federal monitors deployed in jurisdictions with 3 or more sustained excessive force complaints. Within 72 hours, 12 states passed sweeping legislation banning quota-based policing, requiring annual de-escalation training, establishing victim compensation funds funded directly from forfeiture proceeds. Treasury launches a $500 million restitution program. Victims whose money was seized without charges get it back with interest. In Pinehurst, the entire department is gutted. Chief resigns. 2 captains are benched pending investigation. Nearly half the force is suspended without pay. A federal monitor embeds for 5 years. Every arrest reviewed. Every forfeiture documented. Every complaint investigated by outsiders. James Rodriguez becomes the new training officer. It's first class, 22 fresh-faced cadets who still believe policing is heroism. He plays them the body cam footage. Brennan's rage, the swing of the golf club, federal agents swarming. The room stays frozen when it ends. I froze, Rodriguez says, voice shaking. I knew Dale was out of control. I knew the man on the ground didn't deserve it, and I froze. He looks at the cadets. Don't be me. Be better. A hand rises. What should you have done? Stopped it. The second he grabbed the golf club, the second he put his boot on that man's back, anything except stand there. But he was your superior, another cadet murmurs. He was, Rodriguez says. Now he's inmate 83,642 at FCI Petersburg. Across the country, 43 departments face their reckoning. Some cooperate. Some fight. Some dig in and lose every lawsuit. Funding dries up. Grants vanish. Insurance premiums soar. Qualified immunity weakens. Within months, most crumble and comply. Meanwhile, victims start receiving restitution. Jasmine Rodriguez, the single mother who lost $6,300, opens a check for $7,000 and breaks down crying, finally able to pay for braces and asthma meds. Thomas and Patricia Bennett get $15,000 plus interest and send a portion to their grandson from the government that stole it, then gave it back because one man refused to stay down. 600 victims receive checks, some a few hundred, some tens of thousands. Each envelope includes a letter signed by Director Sarah Mitchell. We're sorry, you deserved better. We're trying to do better. At the U.S. Treasury, Ben stands beside Director Mitchell during a press conference he never wanted to attend. Cameras flash. Reporters lean forward. Deputy Director Harris exemplified courage under fire, Mitchell says. Operation Sundown proves no institution is beyond accountability. Ben steps to the microphone. I'm not special, he begins. Thousands of Americans endure this every day. Traffic stops becoming interrogations. Interrogations becoming arrests. Arrests becoming headlines. Headlines becoming funerals. He pauses, breathing through the weight. Today honors the ones who didn't make it home, a reporter asks. Were you scared? Terrified, Ben admits. But more terrified of what would happen to the next person if I didn't stand there. The clip explodes online, 15 million views. Hashtag Operation Sundown trending. Ben barely sees any of it, because 3 days after the arrest he finally makes it to Morelos. Angela sits at the table with the same tiramisu she ordered the night he didn't show. She studies his bruised wrists. His exhausted eyes. You missed dessert, she says softly. I'll spend my whole life making it up, he replies. You said the job was dangerous, she whispers. You didn't say I'd watch you almost die on Twitter? Ben reaches across the table. It had to be real. If they knew it was a sting, they'd have behaved. I needed the world to see who they really were. And how many more? She asks. 42, he says. Then I'm done. A waiter approaches, a 25-year-old with kind eyes. Desserts on us, sir. Thank you, Angela. Squeezes Ben's hand. They eat tiramisu and talk about everything except the golf club, the near-death, the chaos. Tonight, Ben gets to be a husband again, not a witness against a system. 6 months later, Pinehurst Country Club looks transformed. New asphalt, new paint, new plaque. Justice requires witnesses. A young black woman named Kesha works Vala fearless, confident, and unshaken by expensive cars or powerful faces. Inside, Karen Westfield trains new staff, showing them the body cam footage as a warning. We all saw it. Most stayed silent. One man spoke. One nurse pushed through. One officer kept recording. Be those people every time. At the police department, Rodriguez trains seasoned officers, now forced to confront their past. He plays the footage again. Who are you in this video? He asks Brennan. Me, or the person you wish you were? In federal prison, Brennan mops floors. He passes Samuel Williams, one of the innocent men Brennan jailed on fabricated charges. Samuel lost his home, job, and daughter. He doesn't look at Brennan. That silence is punishment enough. And in a Georgetown backyard, Ben plays catch with his 8-year-old daughter Emma. She throws hard, fearless, determined. The kind of kid who grows up knowing her father didn't just survive a system, he changed it. Daddy, did you really stop the bad guys? Emma's small voice carries across the yard as she throws the ball with all the determination an 8-year-old can muster. Ben catches it, steady and gentle. We all did, baby. Every person who recorded. Every person who spoke up. Every person who refused to look away. But you were the one who stayed down when he hurt you, she insists. That was brave. Ben kneels, lowering himself to her height, meeting her eyes with a softness earned through scars. You know what's braver? He says. Being the person who steps up when someone else is on the ground. That's the kind of person I want you to grow into. Emma nods, serious. Thoughtful, then throws the ball again with a fierce little grin. Inside the house, Angela watches from the kitchen window. Her hand rests on the frame, eyes warm with a love mixed with pride and fear. Ben glances toward her, waves. She waves back a quiet, wordless promise that she's still here, still standing with him. His phone buzzes, a message from Director Mitchell. City number 23. Houston. Operation ready. Need you next month. Ben's thumb hovers for a moment before he types. I'll be there. We're 2 cities left. Systems don't change because they want to. They change because people refuse to let them stay broken. Operation Sundown continues. 43 cities. 1,200 officers under investigation. $1.8 billion returned to victims. And still, the work is far from over. Justice isn't a headline. It isn't a single moment. It's a choice made again and again by people who decide they've had enough. If you've ever endured injustice or seen someone abused by power, your story matters. Speak, comment, share, be the witness someone else needed. Because the next Benjamin Harris shouldn't have to stand alone. This is Fate Tales, where real stories of courage, accountability, and justice come alive. If this moved you, don't scroll away. Comment your truth. Share this video. Subscribe and join a community that refuses silence, refuses fear, and refuses injustice. Fate Tales, because every story has power, and yours might be the one that sparks change.